Welcome to a busted play. An illegal use of hands to the face short.
Travis Etienne out for the year already. Jake, what's going on in Jacksonville?
Yeah, something's up with Travis Etienne's plantar fascia, and he's out for the rest of the season to get surgery on that. And everyone's clamoring right now to say that the Jacksonville Jaguars wasted their second first round pick because they not only drafted a running back on a team that's rebuilding and had a bunch of other needs, but they drafted a running back that is now out for the season and already looks like he has injury concerns because this is his first injury ever and it's a season ender. Uh, yeah, it's not a good look for Urban Meyer in his first tenure as coach slash GM for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, I don't think either of us were too impressed with how the Jaguars performed against the Saints the other night. That was a pretty lackluster ordeal, to say the least. Honestly, I don't think I could pronounce the name of the thing that he injured. But with that being said, I do want to talk about the injury because it is gonna have some heads turned and people be scratching their heads as well. I liked the pick when it happened. I really don't
Oh,
know
I
how
liked
you
it too.
could see this coming. I mean, they were one of the few teams in the NFL that I would say actually wasn't like um didn't have anybody that was an RB2 on their roster. They had James Robinson, who was like, yes, undrafted rookie, great last season, and he's going to play again, and he's going to be good again this year. But now, once again, they're one of the only teams in the NFL that I have no idea what they're going to do when James Robinson needs to come out of the game eventually, because I don't have anybody else on that team that I really want to put at the running back position. Now they've got gadget guys like Jamal Agnew that I guess they could try to do something with because he's just an insane athlete and can move all over the field. But I don't love that still. And with all that, I just mean I don't know how you were supposed to see a guy who, as far as I know, hasn't ever had any injuries that I know of, and just know in advance that he was going to get hurt at this point in time. I don't think that there was anything wrong with the way they went, but I mean, people were already knocking it, so obviously they're going to knock it more now because he didn't even get to play this year.
There is one guy on the Jags roster at running back that you did say he's going to be there for 3 weeks and then he's going to get cut, and that's Carlos Hyde. He's back with the Jags, so I they do have a solid running back too to come in for James Robinson, but I mean, if Carlos Hyde is a very explosive, and they do have guys on the team like Jamal Agnew, like Tavon Austin that they could put back there. And Urban Meyer seemed like he wanted to do some crazy stuff. He had Etienne playing some receiver. I understand that's because in rookie minicamp they didn't have some receivers there, so he had him playing that. But he was experimenting with it. I don't know how crazy he's going to get with the scheme though, having guys that well, Tavon Austin's played both. Jamal Agnew's played both sides of the ball and has done everything. Maybe it wouldn't be that outrageous for Urban Meyer to do something crazy like that.
You're right. I like Carlos Hyde. The thing that is the problem here, maybe Urban Meyer's a different coach and it changes everything. But every single coach that has gotten their hands on Carlos Hyde has gotten sick of him sooner rather than later. I don't know why, because when he touches the field, he seems to do enough to deserve to stay on it. Not playing at like a Saquon, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, whoever you want to name, level
Yeah.
at the running back position. But he's playing well enough that he deserves some sort of job in the NFL. And it doesn't make any sense why he gets pulled off. But coaches don't like him for some reason. So even though it's a new coach now in Urban Meyer, I just had the feeling that he was going to get pulled away again. And that's really what makes me say that I don't know about him. If I was the coach, I would be fine with him as my RB2. But is Urban Meyer going to be when so many other NFL head coaches haven't been? I don't know.
I again, I think that comes back to what does Urban Meyer think with Jamal Agnew and Tavon Austin? Because after Carlos Hyde, they have Dare Ogunbowale
Yes.
and Devine Ozigbo, or Devin Ozigbo. They they don't have anyone after him, so it would have to take a lot for Urban Meyer like after the season has started. Week 5. When do people usually get sick of Carlos Hyde? It's earlier in the season. It's like after 4 or 5 weeks.
Well, we got an
At,
extra week this year, so yeah, you're probably right. Week 5.
yeah, it's it's gonna take a lot for him to be at week 5 and just be like, yeah, get him out of here. When it's like, oh yeah, we got Ozigbo back there, ready, waiting in the corner for you to get lost. It doesn't make any sense unless Jamal Agnew takes over at running back. Which the more I can see Jamal Agnew on the field, the more I'm gonna be happy.
Listen, I'm fine with Jamal Agnew or Tavon Austin lining up in the backfield. The problem is that I don't know if they're going to be any threat to run the ball in between the tackles whatsoever when those two are lining up in the backfield. And if that's the case, that really kind of screws over your offense. I mean, once James Robinson comes out, we either know it's a pass or they're headed to the outside. That's really limiting play calling. Don't love that. I mean, heck, you'd probably even be looking for a screen more because I don't know how much you're going to be confident in either of those guys to be pass blockers. One used to play corner / wide receiver, and one used to play wide receiver. How much pass blocking have either of them had to work on in their careers? So it's all up in the air at this point, but we finally know that Trevor Lawrence is starting at least because, that got hidden for whatever, for as long as it could. It got hidden just long enough to actually start people considering, like people were, the entire time this was happening, was like, why are we just not naming Trevor Lawrence the starter? And then it lasted just long enough to have people actually say, oh wait, maybe they will start Minshew just so Trevor Lawrence doesn't die on the football field. But of course they make the logical decision eventually and come to the conclusion. I mean, is there any surprise there?
No, not really. Number one overall picks don't really sit anymore. You get them out there as much as you can, though Joe Burrows of the world, that does happen. So that I started thinking too, maybe Minshew's going to get out there because they see what happened in Cincy last year, and it's like, hey, if we don't have a solid offensive line, do we really want to put our prize chicken out there to get slaughtered? But no, you're just going to bench Gardner Minshew now and try to fish him for picks. I think that's the reason too. They were just trying to fish for picks for Minshew, and it seems like no one's offering anything. So now you got some of the best hair in the league on one team.
I just randomly see Sony Michel get dealt today. So, is there any chance Minshew gets dealt anytime soon, or does it need to be some sort of injury?
It's gonna have to be in the middle of the season when someone gets hurt. That's the only way I can see it happening. I mean, off the top of my head, like New Orleans.
How about this? How about this?
Every place that has a football
QB
competition.
Wait. How much better are the Giants just with Gardner Minshew?
Well, at least like 2 games better, I'd say.
At least. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I
Once
actually
Daniel Jones steps his game up. If he steps his game up, then I re-sign that. But it doesn't look like he has in camp.
Dude, I think I don't know what we had him sitting at before, but I say they're playoff contenders if Gardner Minshew's the quarterback, and I don't have them anywhere near that with Daniel Jones under center. So, I mean, just feel for thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that everything?
Yeah, I think we can cut this here.